Lily has returned home to Donald, and this pisses Kyle off. Let's talk about the Oval, y'all. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel, and click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, before I get started with this review, let me give a shout out to Metro Health DC. If you are in the DMV area and you're looking for quality health care, reach out to us at Metro Health DC. The number is in the description box as well as the comment section, and there's also a form to fill out if you're interested in getting services with Metro Health DC. So fill out that form and someone from their outreach team will be in touch with you. Also, let me give a shout out to GMHC, which is Gay Men's Health Collaborative. If you are in the DMV area and would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to us at the GMHC crew to get a home testing kit. You can have the kit mailed to you, or you can call and make a same-day appointment and come by our location to pick one up. Also, if you're interested in getting set up for PrEP, which is HIV prevention, reach out to us, to the GMHC crew, for that as well. Also, if you're a fan of KRSTV and would like to become one of my Black Diamonds, reach out to subscribe to my Patreon today, Black Diamonds, because in darkness we still shine. For $5 a month, you get all of my YouTube content, as well as special videos that I will be doing for the Black Diamonds. And some of those videos I will be sharing on YouTube to give my YouTube family an idea of what the Black Diamonds is all about. Also, check out my YouTube partner, BK WorldTube, which is the Black Netflix. You get shows like this one, The Oval, as well as Love and Hip Hop. So after this review, check out that link in my description box and comment section to check out BK WorldTube. Now, this is The Oval Season 2, Episode 6, and the name of this episode is Malicious Intent. This was a really good episode, and it's like The Oval gets better and better with every episode. So let me begin. The episode picks up where it left off. Jason's old psychotic ass catches Priscilla in his room. And he's like, "What are you doing in my room?" She's like, "Oh, I'm cleaning your room." She's like, Is that your job? And she says, "Well, we're actually short-staffed. You know, the person who normally cleans your room, we don't know what happened to her. Jean, you remember her, don't you?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I know she's having trouble with her boyfriend." And of course, you know, Priscilla starts going in, and he's like, and she was like, "Yeah, I know you like her." And all of a sudden, that damn arrogance came out, and I'm like, see, he gets this shit from his father and his mother as well, but more so he gets this from Hunter, this arrogance. And he starts saying that you don't have the right to ask me questions. I'm the first son of the United States. You don't have the right to question me. You're out of line. But, at this point, Priscilla gives no fucks. Priscilla is on a mission to fuck up Victoria, because she knows Victoria's after her man. So she says that I'm just here to clean. It seemed to me that the place is clean, but there's a faint odor. do you know idea where this odor's coming from? And he says that it's from his dirty clothes. Lying sack of shit. Then she proceeds to go to the bathroom, and he gets even more pissed. Like, hey, could you get out of here, please? Could you leave? And he was like, oh, tell Jim I'm sorry to hear. And she's like, what do you mean? He says that, well, when my sister was in the trunk of her car, I heard that her and her boyfriend were arguing, and that he was very violent with her. I'm like, yeah, like you were, your crazy ass. And Priscilla was like, over the phone, huh? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, he grabs Priscilla and pretty much, and I'm like, Jason, as crazy as Priscilla is, you might have met your match, bruh. Like, you might have met your match. You won't be able to, trick like you've done everybody else. Priscilla will probably, trick your ass. Because Priscilla is at this point, she feels no fear and she gives no fucks. So all of a sudden she grabbed him and he's like, now could you get out of my room? Pretty please. She's like, do you want to let me go? Thank you. And walked the hell out. And then all of a sudden we saw that damn Jason get mad. I'm like, Jason, your damn crazy gonna get you fucked up. Keep it up. You just probably met the right woman who probably would have choked your ass back. So then we got Victoria and Sam, right? She calls Victoria. Victoria calls Sam, and we see that Victoria is still on her Me Too bullshit, and she's saying that she apologizes to him, and he offers condolences about her mother, and she was saying that, yeah, my father's not taking it well, so I'm planning the funeral from here, and he's like, yeah, I know of your father, and she's like, you do, huh? She's like, yeah, he's a living legend. And then she brings up Agent Yuma, that she was killed, and pretty much, do you know what happened to her? And Sam was like, we're still looking into that. And of course she's like, well, I hear her and Agent Max were seeing the same woman. I'm like, bitch. Dan, she is going to continue to play that damn lie, but eventually a lot's going to get revealed with that situation, especially when Max finally enters the scene. How he's going to do it, we don't know. But yeah, they have a mission to take down Cal, and I'm about to get to that. And she pretty much says that I need a new lead person, as far as my security, and I want that to be you. And he's pretty much trying to tell her, I run the department. I have 17 personnel that I look after. And she just keep on trying to integrate the fact, well, who's top besides the first lady? I want you to do this job. I want you. And I'm like, oh, Victoria, you are really spinning your web to trap Sam so you can have your way with him with your trifling ass. So clearly her agenda is known. And then after Priscilla walks out of Jason's room, here it is, she walks out and sees Victoria sitting there with Sam. And Sam was like about to leave. She's like, oh no, don't get up. She's like, were you in my son's room? She was like, yes. She's like, he's in there? She's like, yes. She's like, well, what were you doing in there? Helping out. We're short staffed. One of our workers just disappeared out of nowhere. It's like she disappeared out of thin air. And then Victoria's like, oh yes, Jean, the maid. She's like, housekeeper. Like, honey, a housekeeper is a maid. So we can see that they are low-key throwing jabs at each other. And pretty much she says, oh yeah, like you're a cook. Yeah, you belong in the kitchen. I was like, Victoria, you evil bitch. Seriously? You over here being a slut fucking with this woman's husband, and you got a nerve to be throwing shade? Like, some of these hoes have no coof, and Victoria is one of those type of hoes that even though she doing wrong, she is true to her malicious bullshit. And then pretty much, she's like, oh yes, and your husband is so formal. And she's like rubbing on Sam's leg, and I'm like, you trifling bitch. Like, you are literally flirting with her husband right in front of her face. And like, I dare you to do something. Um, and she pretty much says, is there anything I can get for you, ma'am? And she's like, oh yes, I would like some tea. And she's like, anything for you, Sam? He's like, I'm on duty. She's like, oh, he'll have a shot of tequila. He's like, no, ma'am, I'm on duty. And then all of a sudden, she's like, I'll be right back with your tea, ma'am. And she had that look on her face like, I'm about to poison you, bitch. Like, you can read it all over her face. And then all of a sudden, Victoria thinking this shit is cute, like, she's jealous, isn't she? It's like, and pretty much he was about to try to leave. She's like, look, I'm on duty, and then later on we see that she's like, yes, but I need to talk to you some more. It's pretty much an hour, and all of a sudden she's like, where the hell is my tea? And he's like, I'll take care of it for you. And she's like, ooh, I just love it when a man takes charge. A woman like me who's not used to a man taking charge, it's a turn on. I love it. And then pretty much he was like, ma'am. She's like, call me Victoria. He's like, okay, ma'am. Victoria. I'm like, oh my God, she is literally creating a web. And Sam, poor Sam, I just hope Sam survives this shit, because she definitely has an agenda for Sam. She want that eggplant. She's in dire need of some eggplant in her life, and she ain't gonna stop until she get it. Nasty bitch. Anyway, so then we see Sam goes into the kitchen where he sees Richard, and Richard says, oh, Priscilla made the tea, it's right here. Oh, that damn Sam took that damn tea, dumped that shit, and he says, could you remake the tea and make sure you clean this teapot really well? But he doesn't tell Richard what's going on, but Richard's like, okay, fine. Next, I'm going to talk about Barry and Nancy. Nancy, where her nebby nosy ass digs in the trash and finds a pregnancy test. So it's now been revealed that Sharon is pregnant. And all of a sudden she says, Barry! She calls Barry in there. She's like, why didn't you tell me? Sharon is pregnant. And he's immediately like, I didn't. And of course, he's just as shocked. And she's like, you didn't know? She's like, no, she didn't tell me. And if anything, I think she probably didn't tell me because it's probably Kareem's baby, which I really do think the baby's Barry's. But then Nancy was like, but Barry, don't be like that. That woman loves you. And Barry was like, yeah, but that didn't stop her from cheating on me. I mean, isn't that the same thing with you and Dad? So then all of a sudden I was like, he got you there, bitch. And then he was like, he's gonna go talk to Sharon. She's like, I need you to help me with the funeral of your cousin. She was like, and I'm with Barry on this. Like, Nancy is so self-righteous that it pisses me off. Like, you really gonna still do this shit? You mean my brother? And she says, who's the father? Why won't you tell Dad who the father is? And she says, I can't. And then he was like, do you know who the father is? Oh, that part made me chuckle. And then she was like, don't make me slap the hell out of you. And, he was like, but Mom, for real, like, you need to tell him who the father is. And she's like, I just can't. I can't do it. And he pretty much tells her he gonna go talk to Sharon. And she's like, don't go down there making mess at that girl's job. Like, Barry, no. Barry, come back. I'm like, Barry just been doing the most. And a lot of it is due to the fact that he lost his daughter. And he's just not right in the head. And I'm like, Barry gonna go down there and show his ass, knowing how Barry is. And I'm like, man, this just not gonna be good. But then again, Sharon, you created that doubt when you had sex with Kareem. Now, it's one thing that you cheated, but you're gonna cheat with the dude that you work with. And then, for some odd reason, you don't want to leave that job because you don't want to lose your credits. But honey, there are many pharmacies in the DMV that you can work at, and you won't have to deal with Kareem and his shit. So I think a part of you enjoys the fact that you like the fact that Kareem is into you. I think in a way it boosts your ego. Just calling it like it is, Sharon. Anyway, so then we see Richard and Fridah up in the kitchen, and he's still flirting with her and everything. Priscilla shows up, and she literally dismisses Fridah and tells her, "Don't you got something to do?" Then Richard pretty much tells Priscilla that he's taking Fridah out on a date, and she says, "Well, what does your wife think about that?" And he was like, "She doesn't have any say." And she's like, "Do you want to share?" He was like, "Do you?" And you can just see that Richard's defensiveness has just grown, because he's just harboring all of this anger and all of this rage, and he's just lashing out in so many different ways. Like, boo-boo, Fridah, he just using your ass. He's using you as something to get him off because he's pissed off. And it's clearly he's still in love with Nancy. And pretty much he was like, yeah, she won't tell me who the father is. Do you know who the father is? And Priscilla doesn't know either. But then he's like, you need to get her to tell me the truth. I was like, boo-boo, that's her bestie. But if she ain't telling y'all the truth, what makes you think she gonna tell fucking Priscilla? But I think Richard was on to something, thinking it's possibly his brother. But still, Nancy has not confirmed it. So we just gonna have to see. Because I think eventually Nancy gonna end up revealing that shit. Because Richard ain't gonna let up until he finds the answer. Right now, she's like, she can take it. Boo-boo. Richard ain't done with your ass, Nancy. He got a whole slew of shit coming down the pike. And Richard at this point gives no fucks. At all. Then we get the scene that made me laugh my ass off. Kyle with his old happy ass is coming in there with some bags, because he called himself moving in with Donald. He calls Donald. He asks about Diane. Donald asks about Diane, and he says that, well, she's at home and she's getting no calls. And he says, won't you call and tell her that, and try to get her to meet with me? And he's like, I don't know about that. I don't think she wants to talk to you. But then Donald was like, trust and believe, I can be very persuasive. Like, the two of them deserve each other because they both are just evil as hell. And then all of a sudden he says, he lets Donald know that he's in front of his house and that he's bringing more of his things. And Donald's like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing? He's like, look, she's not coming back, bruh. It's all cool. And I'm like, you need to stop doing this. We need to have an honest conversation so we can have a healthy relationship. And Donald's like, we'll talk about it. He's like, see, that's one way of you being dismissive. He's like, no. When I say we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. And then all of a sudden he gets on the phone and that damn Donald's like, what have I done? So clearly, Kyle feels more about Donald than Donald feels about Kyle. As I said in my last review. Yeah, he just wants Kyle for the sex. But Kyle is obviously in love with Donald. Because all of a sudden he gets on the phone and he's now inside of Donald's house. He hears a voice. Is that my husband you talking to? That damn Lily's over there working on a dress. Back to her role as being the dutiful wife. I laughed because that shit sent that damn Kyle off. And he's like, so where have you been, Lily? Lily's like, I ain't telling you shit, Kyle. He's like, did you go to the FBI? Oh, no. You didn't do that because I would have found out about it. She was like, yeah, exactly. And she's like, oh, are those your things? And he was like, yes, they are. She's like, okay, cool. Put it over there with the others. She done bagged all of this shit that Kyle left in that house and put it in trash bags. And she's like, so you just put my stuff in trash bags? She's like, yeah, because my money paid for half of this house. So, yeah, I have a right to be here. So get your shit and get the hell out of here. And he's like, I see. And she's like, oh, really? what do you see? And he's like, I see. I was like, oh my God. He hates the shit out of Lily because he wants to be the wife of the chief of staff, bitch. He wants Lily's spot. And as long as Lily's there, he will never get that. But boo boo, even if Lily wasn't there, you ain't gonna get it anyway because Donald only see you as a piece of ass, Kyle. Here it is, you doing all this shit because you in love with this man, but clearly the man don't love you. So then he calls the office. Alan answers and he tells him put him on the phone. He's like he's in with the president, but he lets him know he's on his way back. Then we get the scene between Bobby and Max. This was a really good scene too, and of course both of them are taking pain pills and all this stuff, and they're patching themselves up. But Max asks Bobby, "What happened to you?" He's like, "You wouldn't believe it, but Lily shot me." You know, and he let it be known that I was paid to mark her, you know, track her, get intel and everything. But I started to like her, and then he asked him, "Who paid you?" And he says, "Kyle, the same man who shot you." And he's like, "Well, why would he do that?" He said, "Because he hates her and he's sleeping with her husband." So he says that, yeah, we gotta take him down. And then the next thing you know, Bobby and Max literally pull guns at each other. Like literally got guns back and forth. So pretty much he says, "You need to tell me everything I need to know about Kyle." And then he just says that he pretty much says that, you know, I was paid and, you know, he's with S. And he's like, "See, the thing is, you're telling me things, but you're not telling me everything." So he pretty much says how I know Kyle is through military. We were in the military together and we were both with Secret Service. And a few years ago, we both got drunk and I let him go down on me and all of that. So all of a sudden he's like, pretty much like it or not, we on the same team. So if you want to shoot me, do what you got to do, bruh. Like Bobby was just a straight G about it. Like, hey, do what you got to do. And then he was like, you know, like it or not, we're on the same team. And then Max was like, well, not exactly. I mean, I never let Kyle go down on me, you know. And he was like, trust and believe, it wasn't nothing worth talking about. I mean, but if that's what you want, he's like, no, I want no parts of that. I was like, yeah, leave it alone, Max. So we saw that go on. Then we see Hunter and Donald have this discussion. We see that Hunter is still bothered by the fact that his son has killed 3 people and that Gail has been sent away somewhere due to Victoria's mother. And he pretty much says that I need Denise. You know, can you get me Denise? And Donald's like, I don't think that's possible, sir. He was like, having sex with her, I felt powerful. You know, which is why you were doing the choking and the spitting and the pissing. It was your way of having power over someone, because even though he's president of the United States, he's pretty much a bought man. He has no power. And she's saying, like Donald was saying, you're the president, you're very powerful. He was like, no, I just do her parents' bidding. I'm nothing but a pawn. So pretty much she says that I just want to be able to do what the hell I want to do. So Hunter's doing all this shit because Hunter wants freedom. and pretty much Donald's letting him know that, look, let's flex power. You know, we can actually schedule, you know, getting new cabinet members, and therefore the power will be on our end. Hunter ain't trying to hear that shit. He calls and says, come in. And we come to find out it's Ellie. And pretty much, you know, he tells Donald to leave. If you know what's good for you, you need to leave. So Donald ends up leaving. Then we got this whole thing between Hunter and Ellie, where he notices the bruise on her head that she got from Alan. And she pretty much used the old textbook abuse thing that she walked into a cabinet and bruised herself. And then all of a sudden, he pulls out his dick and was like, come on. She's like, no, that's not what this is. I thought I told you I do it when I'm ready to do it. Like, I'm not your whore. And he's like, come on, I'm stressed. If I want an argument, I'll go upstairs to talk to my wife. And she's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, here go that arrogance. He goes in talking about, so how do you think you really got this job? You think it's because of your intellect or your geopolitical knowledge? Next thing you know, Donald comes in there, pretty much pulls Ellie out the chair and tells her, you need to leave. And he says, you got your panties? You got your panties on? You got your panties? You got your panties? I was like, and she's like, yeah. It's like, okay, get your ass out of here. And then all of a sudden, Hunter's still trying to flex, talking about something. Who the hell do you think you are, Donald? And all of a sudden, he's like, get up now. We have a cabinet meeting to attend to. And then he's like, my fly is open. He zips up his pants and he's like, yeah, wouldn't want to intimidate the cabinet meeting. I was like, see. But I was so here for Donald taking charge. Because, dude, do you just realize that you just had a press secretary that has created so much scandal for your administration, and here it is, you messing around with the new press secretary, and he's like, look, she could ruin us. And he's like, she won't. And he's getting over Hunter and his bullshit. So then when Ellie walks out, she gets pulled into the office with Alan. And you see that Alan is still on his jealous shit, telling he doesn't care about you and all that. And she's like, I know that. I'm like, yeah, it was clearly that he just sees you as a piece of ass. Then he's like, why are you doing this to us? You just want to hurt me, don't you? And she's like, you really think that? You really think that? Like, pointing to her bruise. Like, seriously, dude? I'm trying to hurt you. And then she's like, I can't do this with you anymore. He's like, look, why don't we sit down and talk about this? She's like, no, let's just call it what it is. You were my ticket, and I was your trophy. And then he's like, well, why don't we sit down and just talk about this? Why don't we just talk? I'm like, bruh, after all the shit you did, who the fuck want to sit down and talk to you, Alan, with your crazy ass? And then she pretty much told him, like, look, you're more of an asshole than I thought, and you're just jealous because someone else wants me. Yeah, he wants you for the ass, boo-boo. He don't want you. He just want what you got. Let's call it what it really is, Ellie. That motherfucker don't want you, and you know that shit. But here it is, you done you used your P card, so now you the press secretary, but at the end of the day, he just wants to use you as office puss. Let's just call it what it is. And then all of a sudden, we see that Kyle finally meets up with Donald, and he's pretty much, Kyle is mad as hell. He's like, I should have taken her out. And he lets Donald know that Lily is back in his house, and he was like, why didn't you kill her? And she says, because she has help, from the FBI to DOJ. He's like, well, if she did, I would know about it, right? Because they got their hand in anything. He's like, I don't like it. And then he pretty much let it be known that he's like, you seem really calm about this, Donald. He was like, yeah, because all of his appointees, because all of these people are his appointees. So he thinks it's going to be a power shift. But Donald, you already know who's really running the country, and it ain't Hunter's stupid ass. So I just think he's just trying to use a power play to kind of get on Hunter's good side. Then all of a sudden, he asks about the, Jean, like, so what is this thing about the girl in the trunk? And Cal was like, I took care of it. He's like, look, I don't want that shit coming back on us. He's like, no, it won't. Then all of a sudden, Alan comes in and lets Donald know that his wife is on line 3. Then we get this back and forth between Lily and Donald, and she says that, look, I'm here to make things work, but I got 2 conditions. 1, Kyle cannot be around me. Keep that motherfucker away from me. I'm like, yeah, because Kyle's crazy and that he's homicidal as hell. And then she says, second, I don't need you to help me with my career. Let me do what I got to do because my career is all I have. And then all of a sudden, after he gets off the phone with her, that damn Kyle is mad, bitch. He is so pissed. He's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. She's got help, and where the hell was she at for the past 3 days? I'm not gonna rest until I find out. And like, he is just so fucking mad. But then he was like, and then Donald's like, you need to calm down. I said before, if she went to the DOJ or to the FBI, I would know about it, right? And besides, she can't love me the way that you do. I'm like, oh, Donald, you evil bitch. See, you're going to fuck around and Kyle going to end up fucking you up, Donald, because the worst thing to do is to play with somebody's emotions. And we clearly see that's exactly what Donald is doing to Kyle, because Kyle is in love. And that's why he hates Lily so much, because he wants to be in Lily's spot. And then the next thing you know, he tries to assure Kyle that everything's going to be okay. They start kissing, and Alan walked in on him. And I was like, oh, shit. This is going to be interesting now. So now, Alan, you in the middle of some shit, and we already know that damn Kyle will kill somebody in the blink of an eye. The question is, will you survive? Will you survive Kyle's wrath? Because that bitch, we already know Kyle's something else. And he don't mind taking somebody out. So that's what I got, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in those comments and let me know. To let me know what I missed. I love to hear your thoughts. And also check out the information in my description box and comment section. So until next time, everybody, take care.